You have been wondering which writing experience on a tablet, on an e-ink tablet, is closest to paper, to pen on paper, or to pencil on paper, actually to which type of writing device on paper. Now, I have made a couple of comparisons and made my conclusion which is the closest writing experience and how the Remarkable Paper Pro stacks up against the rest of the competition. Let's get into it. Okay, let's now start here with the comparison. On the left side we have the Remarkable Paper Pro, this one, and on the right side the Remarkable 2, as you can see. Slightly brighter screen, and this is more a little bit more grayish and has also a yellow or slight warm color tone to it. So this is the difference. We already have discussed this a couple of times, and what I'm going to do now is make a comparison of the stylus and of the writing experience. So first of all, if you, let's select the standard stylus. It doesn't really matter which one. It is only about the writing feeling. So if you place the pen like this, vertical, in a vertical position, and then slightly tilted, you see it slips quite fast away. It has much less grip, okay, than some of you might be hoping or have been expecting. On the Remarkable 2, with the pen that came with the device, it's also the Pro pen, by the way, there is a different feel. It is like, it is much more friction compared to this one. I am right-handed, but if I do it like this, completely different. Let's try it like this as well, and you can see what happens. So actually up to such an angle, I'm not applying a lot of pressure now. What you see here, okay? And if I'm doing this here with also not a lot of pressure, I think you could see that it is really slipping away much farther, much more immediately, and really you cannot tilt it a lot because the friction of the tip to the surface like this, is much less than on this device. You see? Okay. You see also that the pens are quite different, because this here is a little bit like the iPen tip. It's hard, it's a hard, soft, hard plastic shell. There will be a certain consumption of material and abrasion after a certain period of time, I'm sure, but this one has much more abrasion effect and is much more gripping. And it's a sticky feeling somehow. Okay, so that's a difference. Good. Now let's get rid of the Remarkable Paper Pro, and let's try the same with the Onyx Boox 10.3 Go, which is, I think, the closest comparison to the Remarkable 2. It's also smaller, it has the Android system, and it has a quite fancy note-taking app. And I'm now opening the note-taking application and get ready for the test with the original Boox stylus that came with the Go. Okay, now you see also the note-taking application is, as we all know, much more sophisticated, has much more options to it, has this AI feature for the text recognition, and it can, recognize the lasso. It allows that we, for example, use the like strike through thing to delete text. It can do text recognition, and it can complete forms and shapes if you want to use this feature. Now, I'd also take the original stylus that was intended to go with the Onyx Boox Go 10.3. I write here. Yeah, and the first notification, the second notification, yeah, the third notification, you know. That's exactly why there is a significant difference between these two devices. Now, that is quite similar to the Remarkable 2. And if we do this test here, we see also, okay, there is some friction to it. And also, if I don't apply pressure, well, I would say it's in the middle. It's in the middle between the two. Okay? Yeah. Now, I have, because this is Wacom ESR technology, I've also here a Lamy pen. And this is the one with the two tips. Yeah, one is a real stylus, which can write on paper. And one, if you twist it, is a Wacom ESR pen. And if I use this one, yeah, here is a tip in. So it's actually the original one coming with this pen. And this has even more grip to it. So this is really like gluing to the surface. And that's a little bit too much from my perspective. And if I use this as, doing the same test, you see how much tilt I can have until it starts to slip. And even then it's getting very, very slow. I can even, I can even play around like this because it's so sticky. Okay. So that's a completely different feeling. A Wacom pen, here this one, which also has a button to enable a eraser function, and it has a special white tip inside, which is also, it is not, it's definitely closer to the original pen than to the Lamy. It is, I would say, no. Yeah, but I would say it's on the harder side, and we can also do the test. Yeah, a little bit, but then it slips away. You see, so this Wacom pen, which has a very, very good grip and a very good shape, it's more a typical tablet-like pen, I would say. Yeah, that works really, really well. By the way, I had somehow switched here away. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, the best one, again, is the original that comes with the device. That is definitely too much, but because that is like gluing it on the surface. Yeah, and it is unrealistic. If there is a lot of friction, then you can compare it to, for example, specific pens on paper as well. But this one, which is like rubber glue, this is unrealistic. So there are a couple of choices here that you can try. Here you cannot try anything because you need this particular proprietary pen. Now, this here is a Chromebook. It's the HP Dragonfly Elite Chromebook, one of the unfortunately most expensive Chromebooks on the market, but really the highest quality. It has a good matte screen, which is installed, so you don't need any screen protector or whatever. And if you use, well, honestly, if I compare this, definitely more friction than the iPad because of the matte screen. So I think that is even a preferred option. Yeah. And this one, honestly, these two are quite similar. Actually, that has even a little bit more friction, but it is a little bit, sticky as well. So maybe not the best option for permanent writing. But just to mention that these devices also have a benefit and could be used in certain cases. And it's not actually bad. It's really not bad. So here is one more comparison with the Onyx Boox Tab Ultra C. Also using the Boox pen, the original one, also the Pro version with the eraser, and the original tip as well. You see my nice little math exercise again. And if I put this here, wow, that's difficult to say. It is very, very smooth. It's like writing on glass, and it is glass, of course. It has a little bit more a sticking effect to the glass than the Remarkable Paper Pro. But this, because of the rough surface, has more sound to it and more paper-like writing effect. So this is strange. Even if the friction is quite similar, this one has a different sound and has a close to ball pen-like feeling on paper. And this is definitely writing on ice. Yeah, it has a little bit of friction, but not comparable. And you see, you have a little bit of friction, but then it's also slipping away. So, what is, yeah, and you don't even hear any sound here out of this one. It is really like nothing, like on an oily surface. Yes, a little bit of friction. It's not like glass on glass, but not comparable to this one. So here is now a final comparison with a very, very old device, which I could just revive a little bit. And that is the Onyx Boox Max2. I think this is 7-8 years old. The system is very old and is extremely slow. But it was one of the early versions based on Android as well. And I can now, if I use this Wacom ASR technology, yeah, very slippery. What is a difference to all the other devices is that it has a plastic surface, and actually this is a little bit also, I don't know if you can see that, pressure sensitive. So I could, if I'm not careful, destroy this. It has no glass on top of it, and I'm using here the Remarkable pen, which has a very good grip. And if I'm writing on this one, that feels like a felt stylus, I would say. Yeah, exactly like that. The Onyx, this again is a little bit slippery, a little bit less friction than the Remarkable stylus, but still you see much more friction here. And then let's go and take the Wacom. This has much less friction, but to be honest, it's the perfect stylus for, particularly this device, which is huge. And yeah, it is still working. It is still working. That's great. Now we are making a comparison with a conventional piece of paper and a couple of pens that we can use. Okay, this has, the standard ball pen has, on paper, has more friction than the Remarkable Paper Pro. Definitely more friction. Now what we can do as well, this is a conventional pencil. And that is, I would say the conventional pencil is closest to the Remarkable 2 and the Onyx Go 10.3. So the Onyx and the Remarkable 2 have more of a pencil feeling, whereas the Remarkable Paper Pro has more of a ball pen feeling. And of course we can also try something like this. something like this, which has almost no friction, it's hard to compare. I cannot compare this. This is a completely different feeling because it has a consistent friction depending on the pressure you apply on the paper, but it is not comparable with the electronic stylus that you have on the other device. Now here is, as a last example, a specific pen, and this is not the ball pen, but this is it's essentially like a little tube and has a hole at the end. The hole is on the side because the tip is rounded, and so it has no ball. It is for technical drawings and things like that, and it has the least friction of all these other styluses. Interestingly, it has less friction than the ball pen, where you think maybe because of the ball is rotating in the front of the tip that this has more friction. It has not. It is really very, very soft, but it has a certain natural base amount of friction to the paper. Still, this is slippery, more slippery. Yeah. So there is definitely this particular pen on the Remarkable Paper Pro has much more gliding effect and is much less sticky to the surface than the Remarkable Paper Pro. So this is something we already knew. Now, despite the fact that you were not able to feel the same writing experience that I was feeling actively using these pens on paper and on the devices, I hope you got some impression of how they could feel according to my explanation. Now, summing up, for me, the Remarkable Paper Pro has a quite different writing experience than the Remarkable 2. It is much harder. It is less sticky to the surface. So I would say the Remarkable 2 is closest in comparison to either a pencil on a rough surface or to a felt pen on a rough piece of paper. And it has this certain type of friction. The Remarkable Paper Pro is harder and has more feeling like a ball pen on a smooth piece of paper and maybe even on a hard surface. Yeah, not a big punch of sheets of paper together, because that also gives a little bit of flexibility. So if you put one sheet of paper on a hard surface and then write on it with a ball pen, and all is smooth, yeah, really flat surface, this is approximately how the Remarkable Paper Pro feels. So for those of you being more into this pencil on paper and high friction writing, this may be a thing to consider, because it's not the same. On the other hand, comparing it to iPads and even the actually much better screen on the Chromebook Elite Dragonfly from HP, which has a matte screen and quite a good writing experience for such a type of device, I would say still the Remarkable Paper Pro is the best, because it has a friction and also a sound of writing on paper because of the glass etching and the friction it provides. So it is slippery, but it also has the sound of writing like a pen or pencil on paper. So overall, you are somehow in the middle between pencil feeling on real paper and writing with a metal tip on glass like you would be on the iPad. Overall, taking into account that most of us do not use pencils to write, but ball pens or fountain pens on paper, the Remarkable Paper Pro comes pretty close to actual writing experience. Hope to find this useful, and I see you in the next one.